post an update doing this live on stream because I did the video and I assumed that the LEC teams agreed to this partnership. And it turns out Ibai made commentary pointing to Team Heretics spending 35 million, pointing to KC spending 27 million, and they have their spot diluted, so he made commentary on it. Kameto went on stream and said there wasn't even a single person who agreed with that idea, they just fucked us. So basically the LEC teams didn't agree to this upcoming change where in the winter split, Los Ratonus is included, and then of course, you know, the other side of it also included, meaning like the team that wins summer split, right? None of the, nobody, which is cooked. I assumed, the thing is, in Kadril's reaction video, he also said and assumed that the LEC teams agreed. He also assumed the same. Because I can see the argument for why you would want to do this, right? You can definitely see the argument for why they want to do this. But that has nothing to do with this. If the LEC says they have a partnership with teams and they go over their head to change the league and to dilute their position, this is not a partnership. It is basically LEC, judge, jury, and executioner. They just told all the LEC teams, we decide everything. You can go fuck yourself. That's what they basically have done here, guys. The format that got leaked today is a softer version of what they are planning to do. Their original plan was even crazier, which brings us back to the Sheep Esports article, right? This was what I reacted to earlier today. And they said the idea of having ERL teams compete directly with LEC teams for Worlds qualification was also discussed, but declined by LEC organizations who argued it would devalue the guaranteed spots. However, further integration can be expected in the future. The funny thing about this now is that now we know the source. LEC was directly leaking to Sheep Esports because this version of this news article is the one that the LEC wanted to push out. Now we know who leaked it. And obviously, they did this interview with Max Schmidt right after, so it's not a coincidence, right? It's not a coincidence that this was a coordinated push. And this, the funniest part about this, right? The idea of having ERL teams compete directly with LEC teams for Worlds qualification was also discussed. The funny thing is, the first person who brought up the fact that Riot is going over the heads of the teams is somebody in Sheep Esports. So how could they post this news? It just seems like Sheep Esports just wants to maintain the relationship that they got this information first. That's just how it seems like. Which I think is a very, very bad look. But back to the issue at hand. Why can't every org boycott the LEC, Kameto was asked. The orgs would die even for KC. It's one of our main assets. We cannot easily boycott them. This is what I like to call esports piracy. Maybe we can workshop the name, but basically, sometimes players get screwed out of their salary because they have no recourse. They can't afford lawyers. They have to have an international lawyer to sue a team that is in that country and the other country and the other country. It's impossible. And it just would bankrupt you and there's nothing to pursue. The LEC teams are in the same boat. All of their sponsorships are reliant on the LEC franchise spot and the advertisement that brings. If they boycott, they will go under because they wouldn't fulfill their obligations to their sponsors. And if they don't fulfill their obligations to the sponsors, they are cooked. Riot would live on. And if they tank the LEC, they would tank the LEC. Like the teams obviously rely on this way more. And this was built on trust. This was built on trust that LEC is going to act in the best interest of these teams. And they took a big dump on that trust with this decision. Let's not lie to ourselves. The new format was completely made to let Los Ratonus play in the LEC. I made the same point earlier. I made the exact same point earlier. They are involving Los Ratonus because of course, their popularity. No other reason. Let's not kid ourselves. Only because of their popularity. Next year, if they, let's say for some reason, next year they don't perform as good, they're going to change the rules. If for some reason, next year, let's say Los Ratonus lose EMEA Masters. Let's say teams ramp up and they get better, right? They will change the rule set. They will say a different rule set. We don't want random ass ERL teams to dilute our winter split. They want Los Ratonus. And the thing is, this is the problem of franchising. This is the problem of franchising and why we thought things like this would never happen. Because these teams have bought into something, right? For those people are going to be out there and say, yo, what about this is an EMEA team, like an ERL team. They shouldn't be able to beat. So why are they so afraid? If they lose, they deserve to lose. That has nothing to do with it. They have bought something, expected something, and are getting something completely different. Out of principle, it is breaking rules. It is like the equivalent of saying, I mentioned it before, if you had a situation where, let's say you are in a partnership, you're married, and then you go to the bar and you see a beautiful woman and then you cheat. And then you're like, well, it was a beautiful woman and she's prettier than you, so what, it's not my fault. It's like, no, what the hell does that have to do with anything? It doesn't matter if Los Ratonus is the best team in Europe. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with this conversation. And if Riot actually wanted to incorporate ERLs and they would do it in an honest way, they would actually buy the rogue spot. But the only reason is because it's reactionary. This is reactionary from Riot. They're seeing Los Ratonus and where they are heading and what's going on. And Rogue was already so deep in conversation with, of course, Navi that they let it happen. But they could have bought the spot. But they weren't thinking about that. Now they're just thinking short term. Let's involve Los Ratonus. Next year, if this team disbands, what happens? Our viewership will suffer. ERL will suffer. We have to give them an incentive to stay. That's what Riot is thinking. We have to give Los Ratonus and Baus an incentive to be there. We need them next year for our viewership, for ERLs, to keep everything afloat and to keep everything alive. Let's throw them a bone. That's basically their thinking. Because next year, imagine this didn't happen. Maybe Los Ratonus doesn't continue. Could happen. Maybe they don't continue. Baus moves on. There's nothing for them to progress. And then the ERLs are going to be in shambles. The rug pull that the ERLs and EMA Masters would experience for that viewership loss would be devastating, I tell you guys. Absolutely devastating. Absolutely devastating. So it's extremely reactionary at the cost of course, long-term things. What would stop me from sending my whole main team to scrim in Korea for entire winter split and letting my academy play this LEC split? Nothing. Nothing, Kameto. Do it. I beg you, do it. I beg you, do it. I beg you, do it. I beg you. Please. I beg you, do it. That would be based. And the thing is, for people out there that think KC fans are obnoxious, you know, I'm inclined to agree with you. But they're going to be angry about this, and I think they have every right to be angry about this. But I do think that people shouldn't be angry at Kato. Kato's going to get so much fucking shit. I think, plain and simple, blame LEC and Riot. Anyone flaming Kato is not the way. Blame Velia, true. This is all on Riot. I don't think Kato, like, I really don't, he's gonna get so much shit, and I think it's gonna be undeserved, bro. I think it's really undeserved. I like people that are claiming that he lied. I think he just jumped to a logical conclusion. I did the exact same thing because I did not think in any reasonable mind LAC would jump over all the teams all over. How the fuck do I spell it when it's plural? There we go. I think you just jumped to a logical conclusion. I think I just jumped to a logical conclusion. But bro, Sheep Esports, you need to like change you need to update your article. You know, you need to update your article. This is kind of crazy because like they made it so damn obvious now that this information was leaked from the Riot side because they got the Riot version of it. You just leaked your source. You leaked your source. Riot went directly to you, and now we know that Riot is speaking in your ear, and you're just playing the tune. You're playing their music. You're just a mouthpiece. The teams are taking advantage of you, and all you have to do is just care about your relationships. You know, esports journalism in a nutshell, guys. Yeah. And there it is. Like this is so important. This is so important, you know. How else would they get all this info? The thing is, it's like, you know, people take advantage of cheap esports, you know. Why would Riot leak it now? Kato said yesterday, bro, to gauge the reaction, bro. To gauge the reaction. Riot can still move. Riot can still move back now. They can say, we didn't announce anything. We were still in preliminary talks. Maybe they can pull back the decision now. This is, you can just gauge interest. You can just gauge interest. And then the reputation of cheap esports will get worse. And then why would they care? You know? Why would they care? It's not official, guys. Here he just says we want to integrate DME masters with LEC and create more interconnected ecosystem, right? And I remind you guys, it has nothing to do, like, I think in a world where we had no franchising and you could qualify, everyone agrees that it's good, but you have to understand the teams that are in the league right now have bought something, have bought into something, and the promise is not kept anymore. That is the big difference. We all agree that franchising is garbage. And for competitive integrity and competitive purposes, franchising is bad. We're all on the same page about that. All the teams in the LEC agree too. Kameto had to do it the hard way. You don't think Casey would have qualified at the LEC a lot earlier if it wasn't for this shit? Of course they would. You think they are unhappy about it? They took the long route and they spent a lot of money. Team Heretics did the same thing with 35 mil buying the Misfit spot. You had BDS buying the Schalke spot. Like, bro, it's completely crazy. They paid into something with a promise. And you have responsibilities when people invest into you. You just don't get away with doing whatever the hell you want. It doesn't work like that. Imagine Navi as well now that bought Rogue Spot and they're like, what the hell is going on here, man? They're like, oh, what the hell are we doing, bro? It's just corrupt. There's no partnership here. They're walking all over us. It's not a permanent spot. No. It's just winter split. It's winter split, which is like 2 months of your calendar year, which still matters. Wouldn't that breach their TOS? I really don't know what the TOS agreement is like, guys. I really don't know. Couldn't they technically sue? The thing is, they have no power to do so. Like, they would fall under. It's just it's nutty, man. He lied. That's a fact. He may believe it. Doesn't change the fact that 10 orgs are against, and that's okay. We all make mistakes. I think he's mature enough to assume such a thing that won't kill anyone. I don't know what people are talking about. Like he's saying that he lied. Bro, I assumed that everyone agreed to, and I think Kato has made the same assumption. And obviously, this guy doesn't get it. Right? Don't be this guy, guys. Don't be this guy. He doesn't get it at all. Look, you can justify why it might be a good decision. You can. But if all the teams don't agree to it, it doesn't matter. Like, why would that matter? It doesn't matter at all. It really, really doesn't. And I've been saying it the whole day. I don't like this idea that somehow we are in a situation where, like, I don't know why we're beating around the bush. This is only for the inclusion of Los Ratonus. Why does it matter whether the teams agree to it or not? Brother, they have spent a lot of money to be partners together with Riot Games. And that comes with certain promises. They say, invest into this league, be a permanent partner with us, and we are going to take care of you. And then they took that trust and took a big shit on it. Seems like this is all not going to end that well. Yeah, I think this is looking bad for Bevan. I think this was a short-term driven decision, fully short-term driven decision to include Los Ratonus in whatever way possible. The thing is, let's say next year Los Ratonus don't win EMEA Masters. And then next year, and then we're going to include 2 winter split teams of 2 RL teams that you've never heard of. I wouldn't be surprised if they change the news. You know what Riot's gonna pull then? I'm gonna predict it right now, guys. I'm gonna predict it right now. Let me tell you. They're gonna be like, Riot is gonna be like, we have changed back because of the complaints of the LEC teams. We understand that the LEC teams' complaints, and we have changed back to the OG format. We understand now, and we move on. We understand what they meant now, and what we wanted didn't go the way we thought and expected. So we have changed it back. You know, the usual Riot speak, you know, after they pull some fucking dumbass shit, you know. It turns out it didn't go as we planned, and we had a different vision for this idea. What happens if a bunch of, let's say top 4, let's say top 4 is just all the academy teams. What happens then? We have 5th place EMEA Masters team. Bushido Wildcats are gonna be playing. What happens then? Burger King Rogue. Why can't Riot make Kato pay for the sport? Why is he getting special treatment? He would never, bro, like he would never pay for that sport. I don't think it would ever come down to it. The only version of that is like Red Bull Ratones. Like, guys, they are getting, keep in mind, Los Ratonus is getting LAC level viewership, and their YouTube numbers are by far the best. and they are spending nothing. Why would they spend 30 million for less even? Now they are streaming their scrims, they're playing competition, their YouTube is popping off, they can get brand deals because they have guarantees from their viewership. Why on earth would they spend 30 mil? Like, why would they spend 30 mil? Worlds? Bro, to get to Worlds, you know how much more you need to spend? Even now, the delusion of Los Ratonus, for Los Ratonus fans, delusion is really important. You know, Dopa as a player, it's way better for him that he never played competitive at the highest level. Because now people were talking for the longest time, maybe not as much now, but for the longest time, people talking that Dopa would be the best competitive player if he played. And that mystery is very valuable. That mystery is fantastic. Nemesis. Bro, I think Nemesis is a very, very strong player. But him not playing, the mystery of how good he would be is mysticism is really OP. It really, really is. And the Los Ratonus mysticism is also really, really OP. It's very, very OP. And the thing is, if you want to compete in the LEC and go to Worlds, you don't get to stream your scrims. You need to walk your fucking face off. You lose the soul of what made you insanely popular. Obviously, cater behind a very cool personality, you can make content still, but you're going to lose out on a lot, and that's also expensive. And then these players need salaries then. And then if a player like Reckless, Nemesis, Baus should give up their stream to play, bro, Baus needs a fucking milli contract, brother. Like, you want to convince Baus to give up his stream to play in the LEC and qualify the Worlds? Bro, you need to pay him $1 million. Bro, he's never gonna do that shit. There's a reason they didn't show up for NNO Cup versus Vit and SK. They didn't show up because they didn't have time to practice. It didn't go well with their vacations. Otherwise, they really wanted to play it. There is no financial incentive for Los Ratonus to actually buy a spot. You know? And honestly, that's also a big problem of franchise, is that you cannot make it interesting for big players to join the league. Because if we are being honest, if we made the league today, and let's say we made a franchise league today, which obviously we wouldn't do, I think that KC, G2, Koi should pay less than the other teams because they're extremely popular, extremely successful, and they have history and pedigree. I think they should pay less, right? And if you're a big player like Kadru and the value that you bring to the table, you also feel like you should be paying less. And that's a big problem of franchising, right? Because in the context of LTA, you would want to, you don't even have the biggest esports orgs in North America. They're not even in the LTA. Bro, this guy thinks I'm Yamato's death. I hope he's memeing. Oh, but the biggest esports orgs in North America are not involved. Like, sure, Team Liquid, of course, whatever, right? But we don't have Sentinels, FaZe Clan. Like, bro, if you didn't have franchising, you could incentivize these organizations to come and bring their fan bases in, you know? You can incentivize them to come in and do some big shit, you know? You can incentivize them. And I think that's where LTA is moving. I think that's where LTA is moving. Like I've said it so many times, but I think that the only way I would rationalize some of these decisions that Riot has made in regard to LCS, legit, the only way you could justify them is if they intentionally want to tank their own league. I've got nothing against Los Ratonus and Kato. The right to have accepted, I would have done the same. The problem comes from Riot making bad choices, short-term ones, I don't even know, instead of long-term decisions. Agreed. Good on Kameto, bro. Good on Kameto, bro. Good on Kameto. Really, really good. I'm really happy that he says this. Very happy that he says this. Kato spoke too fast because he came to a conclusion, a logical conclusion, and stated it as a fact, and he's getting shit for that. But I like you have to blame fucking LEC and Riot, bro. Like it's crazy. You got guys angry towards LEC and Riot. Collectively angry at Riot and LEC. That's the one, boys. That's sincerely the one. Like this is such a grief. What an int. I have to say, you know, the LEC, they have done so many, like they're so damn lucky. They're so damn lucky. And somehow you have people that are in positions of power that are patting themselves on the back that, oh, look at our viewership numbers. We fired so many people and we have so great viewership numbers. No. You have good viewership numbers because Casey is doing well and Casey is moving and Corey is moving and they are bringing the fucking fan base. And somehow you take credit for that shit. You ain't doing shit, by the way. You ain't doing shit. You fucking did bullshit formats. Like somebody needs to be fired, man. I'm so sick and tired. Like somebody needs to take responsibility for these bullshit damn formats. And then you have Maximilian Schmidt sitting there and being like, we take ideas from the LCK, but the LCK has shit format this year too, man. Like somebody needs to take responsibility. What is this, bro? What a joke. What a joke. What a damn joke, man. They're just cannibalizing their own project. Then Yamato wonders why he can't stream LEC. Brother, don't you think the fact that I can't co-stream LEC is just another part, another thing on their list of shit decisions? Like, you think me not co-streaming? Bro, that's just another part of the list of their shit decisions. It is what it is.